On to this, shall we? Lo and behold, it's a new year, January 2nd already. And yesterday on the show, I went through my list of the 10 most likely films to hit $1 billion, starting at the least likely of all the potentials, all the way up to the ironclad lock to guarantee. And I said that just those are the $1 billion films. Those aren't necessarily my most anticipated films. I said I would do that today. Tomorrow, we're going to do our best films of 2024. But today, we're going to do the most anticipated movies of 2025. Now, before we get into all of those, there are a number of films that I want to mention. And you know what? Dear heavens, I think I lost.
Oh, no.
I lost all my stuff.
Oh,
all
no.
my graphics are gone. I can't believe it. Oh, well, the graphics are gone. We'll have to do this without graphics. That's fine. I want to mention before we get into the top 10, the ones that I would say are honorable mentions. Like, I don't necessarily, and I wouldn't necessarily say that these films are my most anticipated, but I would say that they are ones that
You're excited to see?
I'm excited to see. That are films that we've got to keep our eyes on, that I'm excited to see. They didn't quite make my top 10. So here are the honorable mentions for my most anticipated films of the year. And these are in no particular order.
And it doesn't matter like if you feel like they're going to be bad or good, right? This is just things that you want to see.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily, yeah, exactly. I'm not necessarily saying these will be bad, these will be great. I'm not saying any of that. I'm simply saying these are the ones I am most excited about. These are the ones that I have all my excitement, my
reserve tickets.
that I'll be reserving my tickets for.
Okay.
So actually, you know what? I think I did find my graphics. There we go. Okay. First off, these are honorable mentions. Ballerina, Ana de Armas, and listen, we thought at first that John Wick may be playing like a tiny small role in it, maybe like a quick cameo, but I've been told this is basically John Wick 3.5. So it takes place before the events of the last John Wick movie. And apparently he's in a lot of it. Like it's definitely Ana de Armas's movie, but Keanu Reeves is in a lot of it. I like what we saw at CinemaCon from it. I think this is going to be fun. And the fact that the movie got delayed because they wanted to put in more big action sequences, I think is nothing but good. So one of my honorable mentions is Ballerina. Another honorable mention I would give is Wicked 2. I ended up loving Wicked. I was really surprised how much I enjoyed it because I am not the target demographic. I never went to go see the stage show. I never intend on going to see the stage show. Frankly, I didn't really care much about it. And then they showed us previews for it at CinemaCon. I got very intrigued and I went to go see it and I loved it. So Wicked 2, one of my honorable mentions. Another honorable mention I got to give this is Lilo and Stitch. I just, look, there's so much potential here for this fuzzy guy. And by the way, I think there's a chance this movie becomes $1 billion film. I'm not saying it will. I'm just saying I think it's got a chance to be $1 billion film. But I adore the original animated one. Just adore it. So I am definitely excited for that. All right, two more I want to mention as honorable mentions. Captain America, Brave New World. Didn't quite crack my top 10, but I love Anthony Mackie. Although to me, Steve Rogers is Captain America, but I love Anthony Mackie. I love the Sam character and seeing a Harrison Ford Hulk. You had me at Harrison Ford Hulk. That's all you needed. So that's one of my honorable mentions. And my last honorable mention is the new Jurassic World movie, Jurassic World Rebirth.
Okay.
I mean, listen, I like the director, I like the cast, and every human being loves two things. Free t-shirts shot out of air cannons into the audience, and they love seeing dinosaurs eating people. Just put that on the screen, and you've got potential for something really good.
I'm surprised it didn't make your list, though. Okay.
Now
I'm looking forward to seeing your list.
Yep, not on my list, but it's definitely one of my honorable mentions. Okay. With that down, guys, let's get into the ones that actually made my list. The films that I'm most looking forward to in order. And we're going to start off with, drum roll, in my number 10 position, How to Train Your Dragon.
Yep.
Listen, I love the original. I think the original all the original 3 films are great and awe-inspiring and have wonder and charm and magic to them. And when they played that first trailer, granted, it was just a very brief first look, I thought they captured it great. I thought it looked wonderful. I love the look of the dragon. I love the look of the world. I love that you have from 300
Gerard
Butler. Thank you. I love that Gerard Butler is back playing the dad. I love that. So for me, How to Train Your Dragon is my number 10. You looking forward to this one?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that first trailer was great. I mean, it seems like it's going to be shot for shot. I actually think it has a chance to make $1 billion. A chance to make.
I would say not impossible. Not impossible. All right. Let's go on to remember, these are my most anticipated. So number 10, How to Train Your Dragon. So what's the movie that if it was out at the same time I would go to see before it? Well, in my number 9 position, Michael, the Michael Jackson biopic. I was kind of like, okay, yeah, I'm interested in a Michael. I mean, he was the king of pop. So I'm interested in it. And then at CinemaCon back in April, they played us a sizzle reel for it. And it looked phenomenal. I think this is a guaranteed monster hit. It will be, I really believe it'll be $1 billion film. I mean, it might not be, and if it isn't, I'll be surprised, but I think this is going to be a big, huge film. But I also think it's going to be a wonderful film. And so even though I'm the guy who's not usually all that excited about biopics, I got Michael as number 9. All right. So what's the movie I would want to see more than Michael? Well, coming in at the number 8 position for my most anticipated films of the year, Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning. I don't think Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning was the best Mission Impossible film, but I love this franchise. You know, it's a lot like Fast and Furious, where it's like, I wasn't really on board for the first couple, but once you got into like, especially 4, 3 was pretty good too, but once you get especially into 4 and 5 and 6, I just started loving these movies.
Right.
And even though Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning struggled a bit by Mission Impossible standards at the box office, I still quite liked it, even though it wasn't my favorite. And I always think these movies have great spectacle. So I'm really, really looking forward to Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. All right. Let's move on to our number 7 film. The one I would see before Mission Impossible or Michael or How to Train Your Dragon. And my number 7 most anticipated film of the year is Sinners.
Okay.
Listen, all you got to tell me is that Ryan Coogler is directing a film. That's it. That's all you've got to tell me to get me excited about going out and seeing something. And when Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan make movies together, you get magic. You get Creed. You get Fruitvale Station.
Yes,
you get Black Panther. I mean, every time these two guys have made a movie together, the movies end up being absolute chef's kiss. I love the tone of it. I think he's one of the most exciting directors working today. I think Michael B. Jordan is one of our great actors today. Anne's excited about it because it's got Haley Steinfeld in it. So, yeah, sign me up. I got Sinners right up there in my number 7 spot. Okay, let's get on to number 6 then. My number 6th most anticipated movie of the year goes to Fantastic Four: First Steps. Now, some people might be surprised that I don't have this a little higher on my list. After all, I love the cast. You got the director in as the guy who ran WandaVision, which I think is the best Marvel TV series they've ever done. There's a lot of things to like. The reason I don't have it higher, and remember, 6 is already, remember, I'm putting this ahead of Sinners and Mission Impossible and Michael and How to Train Your Dragon. It's still high on my list, but the reason I don't have it a little bit higher is we've bitten into the Fantastic Four apple a few times, and there's usually a worm in it. Now, this is a totally new studio, totally new group of people, total new team making this. And there's a lot to be excited about, which is why it is on my list. But I just can't have it any higher right now because of all the films that are ahead of it. I'm super excited about, but I am very excited about Fantastic Four First Steps. And where are you sensing the hype level at right now for Fantastic Four? Where's your excitement level for
There's so much in the way right now. There's not a lot for me, but as it gets closer and the way Marvel does marketing, I'll get there. I have no problem getting there. Like, but it's just not, because we have movies that you might mention coming up from Marvel that are in the way. So it's not there yet. It's just really mellow right now.
Right. But I got to have it on my list. It's got to have it on my list. So I've got it at the number 6 position, which means I have 5 films that guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's episode, Miracle Made. Guys, it's hot outside and your nighttime bedroom temperature has a huge impact on your sleep quality. So if you wake up too hot or too cold, I highly recommend you check out Miracle Made's bed sheets. Miracle Made sheets are inspired by NASA and use silver-infused fabrics that are temperature regulating so you can sleep at the perfect temperature all night long. There are just so many things that make these sheets so fantastic. We already mentioned the self-cooling properties for better quality sleep, but they're also self-cleaning. These sheets are infused with silver that prevent up to 99.7% of bacterial growth, leaving them to stay cleaner and fresh 3 times longer than other sheets. No more gross odors. So go to trymiracle.com/Campea. That's TRYMIRACLE.com/Campea to try Miracle Made sheets today. And whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift for a loved one, if you order today, you can save over 40%. And if you use our promo code Campea at checkout, you'll get 3 free towels and save an extra 20%. Miracle is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't 100% satisfied, you'll get a full refund. So upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/Campea and use the code Campea to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40% off. Again, that's trymiracle.com/Campea to treat yourself. Thank you, Miracle Made, for sponsoring this episode. I'm looking forward to even more than Fantastic Four. We'll start with the first one. The next one on my list, my number 5 most anticipated film of 2025. Fuck you, Paddington and Peru.
Yeah, let's go.
And this ain't ironic. I am dead serious.
You don't know Paddington.
You don't know Paddington. I cannot wait for this movie. I still remember, I've told the story before, but you know, I had to go, this is back when I still went to press screenings. I'm so glad I don't do that anymore. And I had to go see this new moving Paddington. I'm like, I'm not really looking forward to it. And Anne couldn't go. She was out. So I'm like, I got this +1. I don't want to go alone. So I asked John Schnepp. I'm like, dude, listen, I got to go to this. Can you come with me? He's like, all right, fine. So John Schnepp and I go to see the first Paddington movie. And we came out of that movie going, holy shit, Paddington is awesome. And then they made Paddington 2. And Paddington 2 was just double the delightfulness. I don't know how many of you guys, not many of you guys, saw the Nick Cage movie, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. We talked about best sequel ever, like Paddington 2. They talk about it in that movie. And I don't care what anybody says. I'm being dead serious. I have been dying to see a third Paddington. These movies so capture the beautiful magic of movies, man. They make you, when a movie can just lift your soul and make your heart smile and make you laugh along the way and leave you feeling like, oh, when the credits roll, that's special. And I don't care what anybody else says. I'm putting Paddington. Listen, I'm not making a popularity list here, okay? I don't make my list to be popular and to make sure my list looks like other people's lists. I'm giving you my honest stuff. And I got to be honest with you. Paddington in Peru is my 5th most anticipated film of the year. Yep. I cannot wait to watch this. Cannot wait to watch it. All right. But there are 4 others that I'm looking forward to even more. So my number 4 most anticipated movie of the year, Mickey 17.
Right, there you go.
Robert Pattinson. Just look, first of all, you say a movie's coming from this performer and this actor and this director, and you've got my interest. Ray, it was at CinemaCon this past year. that they showed us this big preview, this big advanced look at Mickey 17. Pardon me. And it looked, guys, I just can't tell you how good this thing looks. It looks so interesting. Like, a lot of people are already making comparisons to it, to Sam Rockwell's Moon. And I think that's fair, but there's a lot more to it.
Yeah.
And it just looks like it's going to be complex, and it looks like the pace is going to be a crazy pace to it. And the performance in it looks incredible, and it also looks funny.
It does look funny. That's what I was going to bring up.
You really liked what we saw.
Yeah, some of those things cracked me up. Like, we're going to see Robert Pattinson die so many ways, so many times. I cannot wait to see how that to see it on film in the theaters.
Yeah, I think this is going to be great. Gambit in live chat is saying that doesn't look like Mickey Mouse. Yeah, you'd be forgiven if you thought this might have been a Disney movie, but it is not. So Mickey 17 is my number 4 most anticipated movie of the year.
Before you go on, John, I just want to say that while you're saying your list, I've been going through the release calendar, and I've been pulling out specific ones that I'm going to bring up after you're finished.
Okay, yeah, perfect.
That I think that
you would put on your list as well.
No. You may have forgotten or may not have thought of. Okay.
All right. So let's go on now. We're in the top 3. My third most anticipated film of 2025 is none other than Thunderbolts.
Yes.
Wait a minute, John. I watched a show of yours a while ago, maybe a year or so ago, and you mentioned that, Thunderbolts? Why are you making a Thunderbolts film? And I did. But then once they announced the lineup and who the characters are, and I realized we were going to get a movie with Winter Soldier, Walmart Captain America, and Red Guardian all in the same movie together. And then we kind of heard rumors that Sentry might be a part of it. I started getting really intrigued. And I have loved the trailers. I have loved them. I cannot believe how, again, I'm not telling you this is going to be a top 3 best movie of the year. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just giving you my honest thing that this is what the top 3 most excited films for me. That if tomorrow I got an invitation to go see all of these movies, How to Train Your Dragon, Michael, Mission Impossible, Sinners, Fantastic Four, Paddington II, Mickey 17, and Thunderbolts is on that list, the movie I'm picking to go see is Thunderbolts. It might not end up being the best movie of the list, but it is the one I'm most excited about. And every new trailer, every new teaser, every new piece of promo I see coming out for it is just getting me more excited about it. I think this is going to be a damn fun film. And I think it's going to be the best Marvel film of the year.
And I'm starting to think this should have came out a little earlier.
Maybe.
Instead of all Ant-Man and the Wasp, maybe have that when after we first get introduced to Yelena and Walmart Captain America, just somewhere in that gap. Maybe it should have came out earlier. Because we always had a hard time like relating to these new characters that they were throwing at us. Maybe this was the movie that would have gotten us on board with many of these characters. Who knows? Who knows? We'll see.
I mean, they didn't have it ready, obviously, but but every time I see a preview for this, I feel like, man, like this year there was only one Marvel movie in theaters in 2024. This kind of would have been a nice piece to fit in there, but at any rate,
we'll see if it's good first.
Yeah, Thunderbolts is my number 3 most anticipated movie of the year. All right. Next up at number 2. I gotta say, the other 2 aren't my favorite movies of all time, but they always deliver great grand theatrical experiences. Avatar, Fire and Ash. Listen, I am not the world's biggest fan of the Avatar series, but I do appreciate them and I do like them a lot. And I remember coming out of the movie theater after Avatar, The Way of Water, I was like, that was a hell of a theatrical experience. James Cameron knows how to leverage the man who is responsible for 3 of the top 4 biggest box office films of all time.
Of all time.
He knows how to deliver big theatrical experiences. And Avatar, The Way of Water, I mean, I'm not saying it was the best film of the year, but it was a grand
Stunning.
huge, stunningly, visually stunning theatrical experience that was just a utilization of all the most cutting edge technology to try to bring stories to life on the big screen. He has bold imagination. He goes in places that you don't think you can really go and do, and he does them, and he creates these grand experiences. And I walk out of Avatar films having had a great time.
And he's playing with fire this time. Let's see what he could do with fire. Yeah. Let's see what he could do, because he always brings some different aspects to these effects that we've never seen before. I cannot wait for this one as well.
So I've got Avatar, Fire and Ash as my number 2 most anticipated film of the year. All right. And my number 1, no one's going to be surprised by this. Everybody knows that this was going to be my number 1 film. And but I wasn't 100% sure when I was putting the list together, but then it ultimately did. My most anticipated movie of the year is Superman. I mean, that's it. It's Superman. Man of Steel was probably my most anticipated movie of the year that it came out. I'm a big Superman guy. I love Superman. Of course, like I said, I got my boy Henry Cavill right here, standing watch and vigil over the studio, protecting us at all times. He's my all-time favorite Superman, but I just love Superman, and it's the launch. Guys, it's the launch of a new cinematic universe on the big screen. Like, this isn't just an individual film. I mean, it is an individual film, but it is literally the launch of a brand new cinematic universe. That alone would put this movie high on my anticipation list to make sure I go out and go see. But then you combine with the fact that it is indeed Superman, that it's James Gunn, who has never made a movie that I haven't liked. And then you combine all that with the fact that they just put out this new trailer that I adore. I think that new trailer is pure perfection for a first trailer. Not a perfection for a trailer overall, but for a first tease trailer, I think it was absolute perfection. Absolutely loved it. Became the 5th biggest trailer launch of all time in cinematic history. All those reasons and more. Now, is the movie going to be great? I don't know. I don't know. I'm not going to put money on it that it is or isn't. But I'd be lying to you if I didn't tell you this is the movie I was most excited for.
It's the most important.
It's absolutely the most important.
Yeah.
100% it is. Because an entire new cinematic universe and the future of an entire studio is kind of resting on it. But again, if I go through all the films, again, I just want to remind everybody, my honorable mentions were Ballerina, Captain America, Brave and the Bold, or Brave New World, Lilo and Stitch, Wicked 2, and Jurassic World Rebirth. But these are my top 10. These are my top 10, and Superman tops my list.
Okay.
Now, you said you had some ones that maybe I
pulled out a little that.
Okay, let's go one at a time through them.
What I was looking forward to, but I'm going to go with the ones that I don't. Why didn't you mention these? Okay, The Accountant 2.
Oh, yeah. Listen, so Ben Affleck, John Bernthal, J.K. Simmons. I straight up love the first Accountant, and I've been waiting years and years and years for this sequel, and I'm very excited for it. But I admit, every film I've mentioned are ones that I would go to first.
Oh.
I'm absolutely excited for The Accountant 2. Absolutely, but it just wasn't up there enough to make my list.
Okay.
Okay.
And I'm just saying that these are films that I could see you
absolutely
going the first day it opens.
Right.
Nobody 2.
Oh, that's another great one. Again, like Nobody was not the first, but one of that first batch of movies that came out when theaters were just starting to open again after the pandemic. It's great. I mean, very John Wick-esque, which is understandable because it came from the makers of John Wick. Bob Odenkirk was killer in it. It's lower budget, smaller film. Very excited to see it. Just not quite enough to crack my list, though.
Very disappointed in this one.
All right.
Naked Gun with Liam Neeson.
Oh, with Liam Neeson. Listen, here's why I don't have it on my list. There has not been a good spoof comedy made.
Right.
In
who knows, yeah.
Ages. Like, there used to be a golden age of spoof movies, whether you're talking about The Naked Guns, Loaded Weapon, what's a couple of the other ones? I keep forgetting the name. What was the Val Kilmer one called again?
Oh, crap.
Guys, what was the name of the Val Kilmer? I always freeze on the name of the Val Kilmer one. Hot Shots was another really good one. I don't know that I call Spaceballs. Top Secret was the Val
Top
Kilmer
Secret,
one.
okay.
See, there was this era of great spoof movies, and then came those two guys.
Yeah,
and I'm glad I don't remember the names. Yeah. Who started cranking out all this shit, like Meet the Spartans and all this bullshit crap, and it killed the genre.
Yeah.
So Liam Neeson taking on Frank Drebin, and like maybe that, because Liam Neeson. Hey, listen, Liam Neeson is great comedically. Go on YouTube and look up Ted Liam Neeson Serial. It's one of the damn funniest things I've ever seen. I've been led to understand that they say tricks are just for kids. Yeah, that is the saying. So if I were to give you this money and I were to walk out, there would be no problems. It's just, even though I myself am not a kid, it's one of the funniest. Liam Neeson has such great dry comedic timing. It doesn't seem to equate when you think about Liam Neeson. He is a master at comedy. I think Liam Neeson is a master at comedy, and I think he's going to kill it in this. But again, it's a spoof. We haven't seen a good spoof in forever, so I'm looking forward to it. But again, not on my list.
Not to say this would have been on your list, but I know you're probably going to go watch this with me as The Black Phone 2.
Oh, yeah, man. Listen, that we saw The Black Phone
right
at CinemaCon. They gave us a big advanced screening of The Black Phone. Aaron Cummings nearly tore my arm off. It was like she was so terrified by it. I really enjoyed it. Now, not one of my top 10 favorite horror films of all time, but it's a really
nice
solid movie. Yeah.
It's a nice surprise.
Nice surprise movie. I'm looking forward to seeing it, but not quite on my list.
Predator Badlands.
Predator Badlands is one that honestly, if I was going to give I had so many movies I wanted to give as honorable mentions, but I thought I'm just putting in too many. Like, you can't have a top 10 and have
and then
7 honorable mentions, right?
I'm bringing these up because...
but I came really close to putting Predator Badlands on there. I almost bumped Jurassic World out. But then I really thought about it, and I thought, Predator Badlands and the new Jurassic World were both offered to me to see this afternoon. I'd probably take Jurassic, but it came really close to being there.
And last one, before I say my three
okay.
Mortal Kombat 2, baby.
I was so disappointed by the last
one.
Listen.
These are fun, crappy movies.
The first Mortal Kombat movie is one of the greatest bad movies ever made. I don't care. It's a guilty pleasure. I love watching that. And it's legitimately got one of the best soundtracks of any movie ever. That soundtrack to that first Mortal Kombat is banger. Every track is a banger. I love that movie as bad as it is. Then they did a sequel to it, and it really sucked. And then they came out with this new one a couple of years ago. And we went to go see it, and we were so excited going to the theater.
We were just coming when people were starting to go back to theaters.
Yeah, again, and like, hey, listen, the fight between Scorpion and Sub-Zero lived up to the hype. That was a good fight. That was really, really good. But overall, I was very lukewarm on the movie.
The gore was pretty good, I thought.
It was. Again, there are things about it. I didn't hate the movie, but I'm a you got to prove it to me now when I go to see. Okay. So I'm going to go see it, but it's nowhere near my most. Okay, now give me yours. What are the ones you're really excited
I'm just going to run a couple down that you may not mention. They're smaller. Some of them are smaller. One is Presence. I showed you the trailer.
Yeah.
Day. That one looks interesting. Elio, of course.
The new Pixar film.
There's a movie called Until Dawn, which is based off a Sony video game, a horror game that I watched, I played.
I didn't even know they were making that into a movie.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to see how that turns out. Flight Risk is one of them.
Oh, Flight Risk. That's one that they showed us at CinemaCon, or at least like a 10-minute preview of it. And like Mark Wahlberg, and who's the girl, and I can't remember.
Oh, I forgot.
But it's like, this is a really good premise. That could end up being a really nice movie.
I don't like racing movies, but Gran Turismo changed my mind about that.
Gran Turismo was good.
F1 maybe.
With Brad Pitt.
Right. And the last one I have is The Running Man with Glenn Powell. I can't wait to see that. I like the actor that much where it's like.
I love Glenn Powell. You know what? And here's the thing. What was the Arnold remake that Colin Farrell and Bryan Cranston
Total
did?
Recall.
Total Recall. I liked Total Recall, the
I never
remake.
saw it.
I liked it. I thought Colin was great in it. I thought Brian was great in it. So I've got some hope for that. Again, I'm not going to put it on my most anticipated list by any stretch of the imagination, but I really do like Glenn Powell a lot, and the premise could be done really well. So I'm definitely looking forward to watching it.
Yep.
All right, guys, just to recap one last time. My top 10 most anticipated movies are How to Train Your Dragon, Michael, Mission Impossible Final Reckoning, Sinners, Fantastic Four First Steps, and in the top 5, Paddington in Peru, number 4, Mickey 17, number 3, Thunderbolts, number 2, Avatar Fire and Ash, and my number 1 most anticipated movie of the year, Superman. What about you guys? What movies would you have on your most anticipated? What films would you knock off my list here to put something else on it? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.